Hello, it's Scott Bassett of the Understanding Narcissists YouTube channel. Welcome. In this edition, I'm going to be talking about... What am I going to be talking about? Kid on the bike is distracting me. Beautiful day is distracting me. Narcissists and weakness, and their conception of weakness. So, to get right to the point, naturally, the narcissist's conception of weakness is expression of emotions and being honest with people. That's a big breakthrough right there, isn't it? Narcissists view weakness as being what we think of, healthy people, what a healthy person is, which is expressing themselves, being strong and asserting themselves, which, by the way, you'll also notice narcissists don't do. They just manipulate people. If you actually go head-to-head with a narcissist, they're going to back down. They don't want to actually deal with somebody who's strong. They actively avoid those people, but also rely on them. Again, remember, like the parent-child relationships with authority. You need strength somewhere, and the narcissists don't have strength, and so they need to have somebody who's strong to make decisions for them and be somebody they can rely on because of their illness, their affliction. Now, this whole emotional, so you can see kind of where their problem comes from. If you think at your deepest level that weakness is being honest, being truthful, being noble, being virtuous, being courageous, and doing crazy things for good causes, or risking your life or doing whatever because it's something you so strongly believe in with all your heart, every fiber of your being. That's the opposite of a narcissist. They don't understand those ideas. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's not part of the game. You play the game, you control people, and you feel in power, and that's what you do. That is life to them. I'll cover that in another video. So you can see how that can not only sheds light on their condition, but that can also pose some big problems for you if you're a person who believes fundamentally, even if you don't say it. Narcissists don't talk about their real beliefs, what they operate on emotionally, because you'd see them for the demons that they are, and the victims that they are. They are victims, just not in the way they think. Then you can see what a problem that poses, because now you're somebody who all the things that can make you a terrific person, that can allow you to cooperate and do great things with other people, you've already cast yourself out of that possibility and made it an impossibility because you're not willing to do any of those things. You can't even begin to comprehend them. You can't conceive of doing that kind of thing. Now, that's a big problem. That's their biggest problem. And so you can't process these emotions. You can't be honest with yourself. And so what do you do? At that point, what's left for you if you're unable to do that? Well, that's really the foundation and the driving problem that they have, the conflict at their deepest level, and where they start building up at a very young age the kind of dysfunctional monstrosity that they are, because you have a bad, it's like that old metaphor, you have a bad foundation. You can't build, you got to have the right foundation in order to build a suitable or practical or impressive structure that you can rely on through your whole life, whether it be your values and your friends and all the kinds of things that make you you. When you don't have that, they can't comprehend of that kind of thing. All that gets cast aside. It's all about that maintaining of the illusion. That takes all their energy, and that takes a lot of energy. That's one of the reasons they can't be successful, too, is because it's not just that they can't commit themselves to anything because they don't have any beliefs or the real willpower to do things. They don't have the right values. They don't have the connections with other people. They don't have the love, the passion. It's also that the illusion takes up all of their time. It is them, and that's what they have to do. You don't have time to do anything else when you're trying to maintain that facade. It takes a ton of energy. It takes a ton of energy to make people believe something that isn't true and maintain it your whole life. Take a look at this. We often compare the Western world and the Eastern world. I don't want to get into any kind of politics, but in a mainstream way, most people would say that the Eastern world has more chaos and disarray and things like that, without getting into political, deep political argument about this or that or what's right and wrong and everything. But if we take that to be the case, look at the kinds of things a lot of Western societies can accomplish that a lot of other societies in the world can't, because they have a despot or a dictator ruling over them, and nothing can get done. Also notice that if you ever study up on a Stalin or a Saddam Hussein or a Pol Pot, they devote all their time to controlling their people. They can't do anything else. It's the exact same thing with a narcissist. When you've committed to that ideology, when you've committed to that narcissistic way, which you don't really commit to it, you just are that. So that's kind of inaccurate. But when you're so committed to that, that takes all of your energy, and it destroys everything. I mean, it's a belief and a system of values of destruction, including destroying themselves. Narcissists are the worst thing for themselves. They never do anything well for themselves. They just get their fix. But oftentimes, I've seen it again and again, they destroy the environment they need to get their fix. They can create an environment where there's somewhat sustainable dysfunction, and they have enablers to prop them up. The family unit, naturally, spouse, kids, training them all from the beginning to do what they want. But, they don't. That's still not sustainable. I've seen it fall apart more than it's lasted. Sometimes they last until death, but it's still a miserable existence, a miserable experience. But let's say they can't sustain it. It takes a lot of work. It's not something you can just, set up early on. It takes maintenance every day. You got to control everybody. You got to make sure all the stuff that comes up, you got to account for it. You got to stop things before they become too serious. You can't accomplish anything. It takes up all your time. So aside from reaching a financial position where they can support themselves, that's it. They recognize from an early age, and when I say early age, I mean like early adulthood, that they're going to have to find a way, attain some kind of position to support themselves financially, and hopefully control other people in the process, the family, anybody else too, so that they can live and then meet their narcissistic needs. But that's pretty much it. Once you attain that position, which for most people isn't terribly hard, then that's when the whole thing starts, which is, getting the right people into the house, getting, the right spouse, or having a family, whatever stage of life they're at. Maybe they're not quite ready for that kind of commitment. But the problem is, I see that narcissists, I can conceptually sit here and say, oh, narcissists can have a large group of friends and that's enough for them. No, they need a spouse. They need someone who's attached to them by the hip, that's there all the time. They can't be alone. So the natural course of things is to get into a serious relationship or have many people that they're dating at one time to meet their needs as they find a suitable kind of host for their parasitic existence, and then hang on to them for dear life their entire lives and maintain that relationship. That's what they do. That's the process. There really aren't a lot of exceptions. I've seen a few, and I might talk about those later, but that's basically... So I hope this little philosophy lecture was useful. If you liked it, be sure to like the video and tell me so in the comments below. Share it with somebody you think might benefit from it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and thanks for watching so much. Have a great day.